What came out of that meeting?
Well, we took a delegation of former government officials and CEOs of leading U.S. companies, and I think we wanted to do three things in the visit. First of all, talk about the importance of our bilateral relationship, understand China's direction in terms of reforming its economy at a time where, frankly, the world economy is struggling and China is struggling. And third, we wanted to be quite candid in our views about issues in our relationship that are causing a strain. So talking about cyber issues, talking about market access issues, certainly talking about the regulatory environment, talking about China's national security law that has tech companies and banking companies very concerned. So there's a lot to cover in the conversation. China wanted to project confidence and talk about the future direction of our relationship. But we also said this is not a tipping point in our relationship, but it's a pivotal trip for the president. And we hope that he can assure us that there is a path forward to resolving some of these outstanding issues.
It certainly is a very critical moment in relations between the U.S. and China, Myron. Now, on top of mind, and one of the big issues you mentioned is cyber espionage and the accusations that the Chinese state government is sponsoring cyber hacking of private American companies. I mean, this is a serious allegation that the Chinese continue to deny, even up until the interview that I had with Yang, and I want you to listen to what he said about those accusations.
China believes that China, the United States, and other countries should really try to work together, work out the rules for cyber security in the spirit of equality, mutual benefit, and mutual respect.
But absolutely no recognition that there are in fact any cases of this, Myron. So what's the reaction here?
Well, first of all, I've known Yang Jiechi for 20 years, so I understand why he's representing the Chinese government in that respect. And President Xi Jinping also talked about these issues in the context of our discussions with him last week. The bottom line is that there are some activities going on in China, whether it's sponsored by the state or whether China can do something about it, are questions that, in fact, are fundamental to the trust between our two countries. So there's a high expectation that China will not only acknowledge that they have a challenge, but will take actions in concert with the United States government to address these very serious allegations. And certainly, we saw a very high-level visitor from China come to Washington ahead of the visit with the intention to assure our government that there is actions that the Chinese government is prepared to take to address cyber hijacking.
Myron, let's take a broader look. The shocks that we've seen in the Chinese equity markets over the last 2 months are really symptomatic of a bigger shift going on in China's economy, which is a rebalancing towards more consumption. What do U.S. companies want out of China? What do they need out of China during that shift?
Well, there's been a lot of market volatility. There's no question about that. And we saw China's reaction to that and a lot of uncertainty about China's government reaction. Now, I will say this, that China has, since 2005, largely appreciated the RMB, which is a good thing. And even if you look in the context of this year, it still, has appreciated relative to the yen and the euro. So a 2 or 3% correction in its currency isn't something to worry about short term. But if that path were to go forward, it's a political challenge here in the United States and plays into our football political season. Now, that said, what we wanted to talk about, what was China doing with SOEs, restructuring. They have announced an SOE reform package, but there's a lot of uncertainty about the depth of that package, about the scope of it, how quickly they're going to move. And so we want to get assurances that the direction of the Chinese government is to reform the economy, to move it to be more market efficient, and to remove discrimination in the marketplace. And that is still a challenge for U.S. companies and for foreign investors.
All right.
And U.S. investment in China is flat, if not down, in the last 2 years.